there's 37 touch points you could potentially look at when you guys are looking at a company. I told Mike earlier, like, this ain't points, bro. This ain't an NBA game.
This is real stuff. There's real money involved, you know? You want to be thorough.
To put it really bluntly, because of the money you make, you're like a key to entrepreneurship.
You can put your money in this fund, that fund. You don't see it for 5 years, you don't know what happens. But you can be like, hey, that robot that's picking up items and it's moving it to this conveyor belt, like, I'm in on that.
Yeah. This is pretty special you're joining us, man, in the middle of the season. That's we appreciate that. You know what's ironic though? Like, I feel like your off season is more busy than the season. It is. You know what I mean?
It's hard to track you down. Like, I move around so much in the off season in different places.
Oh, I know. We tried. We tried to get this in the off season. Yeah. No shot.
Yeah. So sometimes, like, in season, you know you're gonna be in Sacramento for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're gonna be somewhere else. You can plan it a little bit better. So thank you for making this happen.
Of course, man. It's just such an interesting paradox. It's like a lot of guys, obviously we'll chat business, but a lot of guys, when they sit around and it's like, what am I supposed to do? I can't travel if I have a game tomorrow night.
Right.
Might as well watch some Shark Tank like you're doing in ninth grade.
You honestly, you might as well.
Yeah.
That's, I think, almost what people don't realize about athletes is like we do have a lot of downtime because when you're off the court, you're supposed to be resting for when you're on the court.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, your built-in excuse of get off your feet, go lay down for a little bit, take a nap, hang out, make sure your energy's good. So we get a lot of off time too. Who's
your favorite Shark Tank guest? Shark on Shark Tank.
Probably gotta be Mark Cuban. I feel like he's honest. I think there's other people on the show that I feel like their personalities make it a show. Some of them are a little mean or they have their thing. Where Mark seems to be on there like telling it how it is, and if he doesn't like something, he gets out. If he does, he most of the time is very aggressive and trying to get in. But he just seems the most, to me, genuine on that show.
Do you ever feel like when you play Dallas, you have this urge to hit up Mark, before, like, hey, can I grab lunch, pick your brain? I feel like a lot of NBA guys want to do that.
A little bit, but it's weird. He's still at the time,
still the
not
ops.
Anymore. Yeah, still the ops. It was funny 2 years ago. We were at All-Star break. I had a bunch of my college friends with me, and after all the competitions Saturday night, we're leaving the arena. And most of the people leave there you're getting into some sort of bus or van or whatever it is, and we're walking out, and Mark Cuban's walking out at the same time. And so my friends who are from college or finished college are a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah.
Starstruck. Oh my God, it's Mark Cuban. Two of them, one go up to him. Finally, I had one friend as we're getting into our car. One of our friends, we turned around and he's been over there talking to Mark, taking a picture. He had the balls to go up and say something to him. And I won't forget that. He said something, hey, do you know our friend Kevin? He was, yeah, he's been killing us for years, that type of thing. So it was cool for me. I'd seen him before that, but Mark's, he's a superstar. He's a cool guy.
No, that's awesome. I think Shark Tank is such a good entryway, learning about business.
Yeah.
Because even though they're bite-sized interactions, you learn so much.
You do.
It doesn't matter who you are. I still find I learn something new every time I listen to Shark Tank.
100%. Even the structure, how those deals come together, what they're looking for in some ways.
Yeah.
It just kind of, especially if you go and you don't know anything, it just kind of introduces you to that world a little bit.
Yeah. And when I think about, so you started Impact Athletic Performance in upstate New York.
Yep.
Do you think that you and your business partner and friend Mike here would ever go on Shark Tank and pitch an expansionary, athletic performance franchise? Is that a stretch there? What's the odds that would happen?
Yeah, that'd be a little bit of a stretch for that. Impact Athletic Center is something that I started with partners. My family were heavily involved. We had other business partners involved in that venture. My parents are there in the flesh, mostly day to day. I'm across the country. I don't see a lot of it. But it's a really fun thing. Its facility has, at one point, it can hit 6 basketball courts or 9 volleyball courts. It's got restaurant and full weight room and PT and all that. We didn't, we try to put everything in there. But it's a fun thing to be a part of for our family. We're just a family of athletes that wants to be able to give back. My dad grew up coaching us as when we were coming up and coming up through the AU days and travel basketball days. And I think that's a way for him to continue to be around the game and coach. And it's a great thing for a family to be part of.
As an NBA player, would you agree it's kind of inevitable there's going to be a family business of some sort, like some joint venture?
Seems that way.
Yeah.
It seems that way. I mean, what do you think for the other athletes? Do you think most of the guys?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I think about I chatted with Torian Prince.
Yeah,
his dog breeding kennel. He has family that helps him with that. I think of Thaddeus Young and his like facilities. That's like kind of a family thing. Ayo Dosunmu, the Chicago Bulls, has this like Yorkie breeding company, but it's his family runs it. Just feels like, to put it really bluntly, because of the money you make, you're like a key to entrepreneurship for like families.
Right, and it's. Yeah, even my days in Atlanta, Trey Young had started his own. His family did a facility out in Oklahoma. So it is like, it's almost like, it sounds kind of weird, but like almost like guys like helping put their family to work. Like it's let's invest in something together, something that the whole family can be a part of, or the people that kind of help get them there. A lot of times it's easy to do a sports facility, but it's funny. Other guys that have different, like George Hill and he's Curious George on his Instagram, and he's got a whole ranch, I think, out in Texas that
nice.
If you guys haven't seen that, you gotta go follow me. He's an interesting guy. But as you like learn and you start to play with different guys, you kind of see a little glimpse of what they're into off the court.
My take on the family business thing is like, it is, if the relationship's right, it's incredible. It's actually a superpower. It's an unlock.
Right.
But I think not every family should be in business together.
I think it's important, like the reason for why you're starting it. You know, like if you're starting it for the right reasons and not necessarily to get rich, like you're not starting the family business to like, hey, let's go make more money than I did in my playing career. A lot of times you're starting it either to give back or because it's a hobby or it's something fun to do, something that maybe brings the family together, but something like you're really passionate about. I think a lot of times, like if you're starting these things, you're not like, we didn't start Impact Athletic Center because we thought it was going to be $100 million business.
Yeah.
We started because we thought that community needed it. It was going to be a really fun thing for us to be a part of and own and operate, and people get to come in and maybe they become better basketball players. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, I think that's the reason you do that type of thing, not the alternative.
No, I think that's really cool, like what you're doing. I don't know if you call it an investment memo, but sort of this high level outlook of what you, Mike, and some other people put together, and how you evaluate, investments or like what you're looking for. What have you seen that, like what has like raised your antennas for you guys to even put that in there?
Yeah, I think like, first of all, there's a lot of people that come to you looking for, everybody's got a company they're trying to start.
Yeah.
And for me, I almost feel like venture capitalists or, that stage of investing is like, it's just more of a gamble. And I'm not somebody that likes to gamble necessarily.
You don't strike me as a risk taker.
I'm not exactly, like my tolerance for risk is pretty low, especially in the position I'm in. Like I don't, in a lot of ways, need to take some of the risks that you might with some of these early stage funds or companies, and so I just prefer to invest in some stuff that's later stage.
You're a gambler? You go to Vegas at all or no?
Not really. Like, I'm not really, like, I'll go, but honestly I go to like play the game and have fun, and I'm the guys that's betting $5-10 a hand, like no matter what, just because I just want to sit there and play.
Yeah.
The worst part is like when you're sitting at the table and it all goes so quick, like I've been playing for 10 minutes, like I kind of just want to sit here and play for 2 hours.
Yeah. And
so then you go into the, again, VC world, like it's just more of a gamble. There's more risk to it that a lot of times I'm willing to take.
Yeah. The entrepreneurs you've been around or seen, the stuff that you have taken a chance on, right? I'll list two of them. Coterie, which is the pay subscription diaper service, and Figure AI, humanoid robots, automating stuff that happens in warehouses. In the experience, or if any, what have you noticed about those entrepreneurs, and like what have you liked about that?
Right. Those were, I think, both unique companies and unique opportunities, I'll say. That's one thing. Sacramento has been great, the location of where we are. Yeah. And being so close to San Francisco and having all the tech opportunities and relationships that you can meet people out here. Like that's just invaluable. Yeah. And that was one of the first things people who are close to me that are smart enough said when I got traded to Sacramento. I was like, you're going to meet some great people and really try to hone in and tap into Silicon Valley and learn and grow your net worth. And so we come across this Figure AI, and honestly, it was about humanoid robots. And I just thought that was really cool, you know, and Tesla at the time seemed to be one of the only companies that was really progressing in this space. And you watch movies. I mean, I grew up watching Star Wars. Like you see robots, and you got to think that at some point they're going to be the future. And we went out, we drove, I think 2.5 hours on an off day one day, drove out to see the warehouse, met with the people that were starting it, saw some of their technology, saw how far along like the robots were.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, like, how do I get in on this? And that type of thing, you know, I saw it's a cool thing to be a part of. It's a cool thing for me to follow. Sometimes it's, you know, like you can put your money in this fund, that fund. You don't see it for 5 years, you don't know what happens. But you can be like, hey, that robot that's
saw it.
That's
yeah,
that's picking up items and it's moving it to this conveyor belt. Like, I'm in on that.
Yeah.
So sometimes those are really cool. It's unique. And then with Coterie, like it's a high-end diaper company. Their founders we felt really comfortable with, really good track record, and at the end of the day, everybody needs diapers. So we thought that was a really good time to get in with them.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, I feel like there's like two types of investments when we're talking about like early stage companies. There's like one investment was like, I believe in you, and then there's the other type of investing where it's like momentum, like show me what you've done,
right?
Where's the traction?
Right.
Okay, I believe enough in this, then I can like kind of map out where you're going to go from here, or they can do that for you.
Right.
And I feel like the latter is more sort of where you're comfortable with.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. That's the first thing we look at is who's running the company. You know, what have they done in the past? What other companies have they built and exited? You know, like who are we investing with? Like that's always super important.
The touch points.
You know, the touch point, exactly, right off the rip. And then a lot of it goes into obviously like what industry you know, the company's in. You know, like does it have room to grow? How much competition are they seeing on a day-to-day basis? And luckily Greer can dive into the numbers a lot better than I can. But at the end of the day, we have a conversation and feel really good about so far the companies we've invested with.
For context, for those who like don't understand, there's 37 touch points you could potentially look at when you guys are looking at a company, which is, you know, I told Mike earlier, like this ain't points, bro. This ain't an NBA game. It's
right.
like how many, you know.
This is real stuff. There's real money involved, you know? You want to be thorough. I don't go through all 37, but maybe the people G, he might go through all 37 for me, but I stick to the stuff that I know.
Okay,
Stay away from everything else.
Outside of track record, obviously, like let's assume the founder's experienced. What other things do you personally like really take into huge consideration with this stuff?
I think tech, especially, we just talked about it, being so close to San Francisco, Silicon Valley, like tech is booming. We're in a lot of those types of deals.
Okay.
Real estate being another one. You know, we've invested in a couple funds that invest in real estate.
Yeah.
Obviously, being an impact, that's a real estate entity. We've gotten in a couple other funds that are helping to renovate apartment buildings and things of that nature. So real estate is an easy one. I think that's like the first thing you learn when you get in the NBA is everyone says, you can't make more land, you know, invest in real estate, which you should be, obviously. And so I'd say those two, real estate and tech, kind of seem to be favorites amongst our portfolio so far.
Do you think you are an entrepreneur in the sense of like the business of Kevin Huerter, obviously being an NBA player, but also the other marketing opportunities that you get? Do you kind of treat yourself like that, or do you not think of yourself in that light?
Yeah, I don't think I think of myself in necessarily that light.
Yeah.
More just trying to be smart with my money. You know, have some passive income when I'm done playing, set myself up for a future. Yeah, a little bit. Some of the stuff, you know, we have a foundation. You know, we do camps during the summer, so I think we have a lot of different things going on. But, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm John Moran or LeBron James. These guys are getting massive marketing deals and
no, for sure,
can carry product and move product and that type of thing. But I think for me, again, it's just simply just trying to set myself up, be smart with my money, not spend it all right now, even though it'd be really easy to, continue to make sound and smart decisions.
Yeah. Well, I saw the Velvet Holdings, so I was like, maybe, you know, you put that put that paycheck
it's
in
official, baby.
Yeah, let's get it. Is it an LLC or is
it's an LLC? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah.
Velvet Holdings.
Velvet Holdings. We had I think Velvet. We want to go Velvet Ventures, but I think that was taken.
Ooh.
VV. That was
VV.
Velvet
Yeah, you talking to the
Ventures.
guys from VV? Yeah,
That was,
yeah. Mike at VV, like, yeah.
I know. So we got a couple different ones, and Velvet Holdings was available, so we stuck with that one.
Yeah. A lot of your teammates are up to some really cool stuff. Your boy DeMontis just started Ones by Sabonis, the wine company, little Napa action.
Oh yeah.
Have you tried his wine?
I have. Drank out of his house this summer with him. So he has a house in Napa, so they've created a lot of connections out there, a couple different winemakers, and so something that he's passionate about. He loves wine.
Yeah.
Wanted to have his own.
Was it good? Be honest.
It was good. Honestly, it was good.
Also, the Black Falcon, Harrison Barnes. I feel like he's doing a lot of stuff on the side, I feel like.
He does.
Yeah.
Harrison is somebody that I tried when he was here to learn from the best I could a lot. Harrison keeps things a little close to the belt. That just kind of, he clutches his cards a little bit.
Yeah.
But Harrison is in a lot, and he's a super intelligent guy. Feels like he knows everybody. We've crossed paths with. We both invested in this company in Philadelphia, and I had heard through people that he was in on the same thing, and it was a deal that we'd been working on for 3-4 months. And I think it showed up the next day, like, HB, are you involved in the company? He's like, yeah. And I was like, you don't want to say anything, like what are we doing? He's like, oh, you're in on that. He's like, oh, nice, and he keeps moving. But that's just like HB.
Yeah.
Okay. He knows HB could take you to the best restaurant in every city. He could tell you who to invest your money with. I think he wants to start a bank. Like HB, he's just a very interesting guy that I had 2 years with. I wish I had 10, because I feel like I would continuously learn from him, and hopefully continue to break him down a little bit to continue to share more with me.
But to your point there, like a lot of teams have that culture where the guys actually don't chat about that off the court stuff, which I was like, you're doing a disservice to everyone. Like, you guys could help each other. Obviously, if the goal is to win on the court, that's the number one thing. We know that, duh. But like, I mean, HB has so much knowledge he could give. Sounds like.
You do. You gotta ask your vets. Like, you gotta ask them questions. We had Matthew Dellavedova on our team 2 years ago, and Matthew Dellavedova is like the biggest Bitcoin guy. Like I think he's actually with a company, Swan.
Yeah.
That invests with Bitcoin, or all they do is they.
Yeah.
And it was an everyday thing in our locker room that in some ways became like Delly became known as a Bitcoin guy, but like, look at Bitcoin right now.
Yeah.
And he is probably the biggest I told you so in the past month, with it starting to boom. And all he told us every day, it's like, our rookies, get in on Bitcoin. And he'd educate you. He wanted to take you out to coffee to tell you why you should be doing this. Like, he was very adamant on it.
Wow.
And that's just one example. I played with Vince Carter in Atlanta. You had Dwayne Dedman, you had Kent Bazemore, who I learned a lot from. Harrison's another guy. And so, like, you really should try, for the young guys that are listening to this, it's like, lean into those guys. Like, just ask them questions. They know a lot about a lot of different things.
Dellavedova, first off, I actually chatted with his fund. He has like I think it's called Athletic Ventures.
He's just starting, I believe.
Yeah, in Australia.
Yes.
Couple of another athlete-backed VC fund. But I actually, like, now that you brought the Bitcoin thing up, I actually want to use this time to dispel a myth that we got to like kill right now. Athletes are not getting paid by the franchises in Bitcoin.
No, they're not.
Like, I keep seeing all these ESPN posts like NFL player Russell Okon takes his earnings in Bitcoin. Yeah. The Panthers aren't giving him Bitcoin. No. He takes that salary and invests in Bitcoin. Correct. And the way they're wording these posts is ridiculous.
I also saw on Twitter, there's a former NFL lineman, I think, responded to that guy's tweet, where he pretty much just responded to the whole thing in like a 3-tweet little thread of like, guys, they're not getting paid in Bitcoin. Like, this is not what you all think it is. Not what you mean. Like, that's not in the CBA. Like,
yeah,
that's not how this works. And at least it was like, thank you. Like,
yeah, dude, the Kings are not going on Coinbase and like trading and then like, okay, here's our earnings. Let's like give it to Cat. Like, that's not how it works.
That just opens up a whole different world.
Yeah.
That pro sports teams and pro leagues just do not want to deal with. Keep it in US dollar.
Are you your Bitcoin guy, or like a crypto guy, or you just kind of keep your ear?
I'm in on Bitcoin.
Okay.
It's more I don't want to miss out on it.
Sure,
I wouldn't say it's a large part of our portfolio, but I have enough that if it If it bangs like they think it's going to bang, then I'll
Sure.
have a piece of it. But if it doesn't, it won't cripple me.
Who are some entrepreneurs outside of, sports that you look up to and why?
It's a good question. First of all, I want to say I started looking at entrepreneurship more serious, like once you got into the NBA, like once I actually had money, but before in college, you're worrying about everything on the court.
Yeah, those 2 years at Maryland, they're not gonna teach you how to build a company.
that nice stipend I was getting to pay my rent in Maryland, my scholarship check wasn't exactly investable. Ninth grade business, Mr. Smith. We watched Shark Tank every Friday. It was awesome.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go Mark Cuban.
of course.
I'll put him on there. Shaq. Spent some time in Atlanta. Shaq has a lot of different businesses.
That's an understatement.
Everywhere, obviously everywhere, but in and around Atlanta. The era of NBA player when I first got in the NBA, their GOAT was Kobe. So I feel like I heard a lot of Kobe stories when I got into the league, both on the court and off the court. So entrepreneur-wise, one of that being everybody talks about body armor. So I'll go with Kobe. I'll put Harrison on there just because I met Harrison and I can say that, I'm close to one of these entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So Cuban, Shaq, Kobe, and HB.
Wow, HB sneaking in there.
HB sneaking in. HB will sneak up on you.
Yeah.
HB will sneak up on you. Black Falcon.
Yeah, the Black Falcon.
Silent assassin.
I actually heard of his nickname from Hassan Whiteside's Snapchat, where Hassan would just be like, the Black Falcon.
Yeah.
Be like Harrison Barnes walking like, what?
Yeah. It stuck though.
What's the craziest pitch you've gotten from any type of entrepreneur?
A lot of early stage companies that are just, trying to get off the ground. They want to scale. The money would be used for this. They have this influencer here. They have this guy on board. Not like a crazy amount of money. It's not like someone's coming like, we got 2 million we need to start this.
Right.
But
what
a
about
lot of these companies that have no track record, that I don't know who the founder is that's starting them, but they have every answer of why it's going to happen. They just need your money to scale and get bigger.
Yeah.
And so those are like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe let me know how you're doing in a year. Let's see where you're at.
We'll circle back. We'll check
Circle back. And it's funny, you never get to circle back. A couple of those I've checked back in with 2 or 3 years later and been like, I wonder where they're at that you pass up on. And for one reason or the other, you pass on them.
What medium do they try to hit you? Is like IG DMs of all these entrepreneurs? How do you even see these companies?
Different avenues.
Yeah.
Sometimes through family, sometimes through friends, sometimes directly, friends of friends, my friends that are trying to do stuff.
Got it.
So there's like all different avenues.
Actually, that makes sense why you don't see anything absolutely super crazy. Because to even get that far, you have to clear a bunch of other things to,
right.
Which is smart.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those 37 or 2 of those 37 touch points to even get
100%.
Get across the plate.
And we do, like, everything that we get, that comes to us, like we fully vet. Greer, who made 37 touch points, like he looks through all of it. He'll send us back an email that's literally has bullet points of what he likes, what he doesn't like, and it's like fully thorough. That a lot of times it's like, I'm not going to exactly copy paste this email and send it to where this came from, but just know that it's, for now, we're going to pass up. And if you really want all the details, then we'll share all the details.
I mean, is it actually like 1 through 37? Or
he doesn't go, he might have the 1 through 37, but like he sends us, again, if we get a company, send us the deck, look through this, let me know what you think. Like we're getting full paragraphs and paragraphs analysis of what he thinks about it. And I honestly feel bad sometimes because he's like totally running a company up and down. Like, what he likes, what he doesn't. It's intricate. And I've learned a lot, honestly, from going through that. Like, if I had a friend come to me, like just me, and can you invest in this company? Like, I wouldn't know what to look for. I wouldn't know why it's good, why it's bad. Really, I have a little bit better of an idea 2 or 3 years into it now, but even my Atlanta years, 3-4 years in the NBA, like I had no idea what made a good company versus a bad company.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of been fun for me over the years is continuing to learn and learn from these guys.
What was the very first investment you made?
The first investment, we went traditional stocks and bonds. Outside of that, stocks, bonds, securities, mutual funds. So I first got all my public portfolio going. The first The first, I want to say fund or I think it was Apollo. We got in an Apollo fund. That was the first I guess, stock bond, any of that.
And how'd you feel? Yeah. After it's your first investment, like it's a big deal.
It was a lot of money to move over, and they told me the returns were going to be really good. So I trusting that still to this day. But it felt good. It was like you get your feet wet, and it's there's a world out there besides just, again, stocks and bonds. So it felt good.
After I I invested in my first stock, I walked in the locker room like I was like Leonardo DiCaprio, like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Like, you get a little bit of that after you're like, doon after getting to Apollo. Like it's a big fun.
It's actually funny. I had one of these moments about a week and a half ago. The market in general has been great for the past, month or two. We've had some different stocks that have really done well. Some companies that we've gotten some great returns on. And so, I was going through like 2 weeks ago, some of the money you were making from being in certain things, and like how they're not celebrated. Like I was looking at it. If you were to go to Vegas and won $100,000, I would be losing my mind. Probably go buy a car, like do something crazy,
right?
And you'd be celebrating it. But you go on your, you look at your portfolio and your list of gains for the past month, and you're like, oh, I made $100,000. Like that's pretty cool. Like, and it just seems like normal,
That's such a good point.
And it's not celebrated. It's one of those things like, oh, cool. Flip the page, you go to the next one, and you file away that portfolio, and then you move on with your day. But I was going through that like the mental shift of like, maybe we should start celebrating that a little bit more. It's almost like you, and I feel bad for people that run my accounts, but like it's almost like you expect it. Like the money goes in, you're like, no, you're supposed to do this or that with this money. Like this is what you told me was going to happen. But then when you actually see it on paper, hey, this month this stock we had banked, it went off. You made $10,000 off of it in a couple of days. You're like, if I was gambling by myself somewhere, I'd be losing my mind.
Yeah, like the expectation that you're not supposed to win in Vegas, and when you do,
maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, but also I don't think you would want your investment to be publicized that much just because people will come after you like, yo, like I got another one for you. I got another one for you.
Right.
Where in Vegas, like you win money, obviously people want you to keep gambling, but that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Going back to the facility in New York, right? Was there a moment where it hit you like, oh, this is like welcome to entrepreneurship. This is real. Like this isn't just like some fun project. This is like a real thing. Like what was that moment?
Probably seeing the first year how well we did, which, it's something like that. We weren't expected to make money for 3 years. So you see all this money goes into all this time, effort. It's brand new. It looks great. And it's losing money. Like I think that was the first maybe welcome to entrepreneurship. How can we make this place better? I think we're we might be past the 3-year mark with it. I think we're past the 3-year mark, and we think it's in a much better spot than when we started.
Yeah. Any struggles with it? And was there any like we call quote unquote like fires you had to put out?
Yeah, I would say I personally wasn't involved in a lot of that, which again, I think all the partners and the people that we have involved, that getting town approval and different permits, working with construction, getting different AU teams. Like there's so much that goes into it that I'm not involved with the day-to-day. So thank you to those people if they're watching this.
Yeah.
But a million fires. Like it's a athletic facility. You got to think of people's safety. You host AU tournaments where there's fights that start, or there's weapons that come out, and you have to deal with that, or there's
wow, yeah.
There's a traffic jam. We don't have enough parking. People got to be parking across the street. Now the town is coming knocking at. Like there's so much that goes on that you have to deal with on a day to day.
Yeah. What are some goals for you in the future? First of all, I actually want to hear on the court goals, right? But also want to like, how do you maximize what you're doing off the court, or are you in a nice flow right now? You just kind of want to maintain what you have.
I'm in a good flow right now where as I'm playing, I have the built-in excuse to have people around me that can maybe do a lot of the reading or the vetting, going through the numbers that maybe necessarily I don't want to right now. I think a goal of mine is continue to learn. Like,
Yeah.
At some point, be able to look at these companies myself and give a report. Why I don't like them, why I do. I'm definitely not in a position now to be comfortable enough to do that.
Sure.
I have opinions, and ultimately it's my call whether we invest with different things. But I think my number one goal is continue to learn, continue to ask questions. That's both from people with our team, people outside the team, continue to build connections so I can get into cooler things.
Yeah.
I'd say focus on that right now.
It's amazing that, like, I obviously I consume a ton of investing content, especially around early stage company investing, just naturally because I'm in San Francisco and stuff. And it's amazing how with all the facts, all the ways you can vet, and like with all the historical data points you can look at with a company, how at the end of the day, it's still kind of, determined by intuition, what your gut's telling you.
Right.
Isn't that crazy? Like, 100%. It's crazy.
100%. The numbers can tell you something. It ultimately is like, I'm just not feeling it. I think it's going to be black this time, not red.
Yeah.
Like one of those. Definitely comes down to gut feeling a lot. Yeah.
So like as you learn, and I'm sure you'll start to think for yourself with deals and more with your deals and stuff. At the end of the day, I think you'll still you just have something inside of you like, I don't know, or like, I think this is gonna work.
Right. 100%.
How many more years you got, or you want on the court? Perfect scenario.
I'm at 7 right now,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations.
Thank you. I feel like 13 to 15 sounds like a good number. Like 15 would be cool.
Yeah.
Vince, when I was with Vince, he was at 22. And I remember being before a game, watching him just, bouncing around, getting his neck moving, shoulders. And I was, how have you done this long?
22 years.
22. I think I was in my second year when I asked him that question. Over the rookie, this is awesome being in the NBA.
Yeah.
Into your second year, you're now in mid-January. Dog days of the NBA season. You're like, dude, how have you done this for 22 years? He's like, I don't know, man, love it. It was a very just brush it off. You love it.
Yeah.
And now, I think make sure I got a body for the rest of my life. 15, if I can get there.
In the past 7 years, it's I got a college degree. I had 2 full-time jobs. I started a company. A lot people forget, so much happens in that amount of time.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And you don't realize how significant it is till I feel like you're looking back on it. In the moment, you're not realizing necessarily what you're doing. You're just living your life. And then you stop, you look back God damn, that was this long ago. I'm 26. I hate to sound like this at 26 because there's people that get to 40 and they're just like, oh my God, dude, you have no idea. But it does. You start to kind of backtrack a little bit. And
do people think you're older than you are just because of how recognizable you've been for so long?
I don't know. I feel like people think I look young, looks.
Well, that's a good thing.
But I feel like I'm starting to get the oh, you've been around for a little bit,
It's dude, I'm in my 20s,
right, mid-20s, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to be known as older or younger. Part of me, on the court, I want to be younger, but off the court, I'll be nah, I've been around, I've seen some things.
I mean, when you go to the table, you got to tell the GMs there's so much upside, right?
For sure.
Right. But when you're sitting around drinking some wine, you want that. It's when you're at an age where it's when
smelling the wine.
Yeah, exactly. Swishing it around.
Right.
You ever see this funny video of this guy with gray slick back hair, and he gets the wine, and he's taking a look, and he puts it sideways, and he does all this extra stuff. That's you. It's you when you go at the table.
I wish. I might fake it. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, to an extent.
Does DeMontis do some of that at the table? Is he
He's not crazy with it. He knows his wine, but he doesn't I feel like some of those people do it just so everybody else can see that, they're really,
for sure,
really looking into
sommeliers.
it. Yo, I know my wine.
Yeah.
But he doesn't go too far into it.
Okay. Yeah. As being with an extra wine sommelier is comedic.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's around the 1938s. It's how do you know? There's no way you can smell that, and how do you know that?
And I feel like people who get like that, it's never good wine. They're not I sit down, have a glass of wine, I'm yeah, that's pretty good. That's good. I'll have more.
Sure.
This is shit. And they'll be this is not good. I had a great wine, and they'll tell some story. And they're okay, let's change it up. Let's get a different one.
But well, by the way, have you ever sat down with someone and the waitress brings a bottle of wine and opens it and someone tests it out and someone says, "No, we want another wine." I always feel like every time someone samples it, it's like, this is good. Like,
Never.
are we going to say it's bad?
Never. Oh my God, never. And the day that happens, I'm probably not going to drink that next wine. I'm a big, like, I get weird with sending food back, you know? So, like, it's like I'm about to drink or eat this. I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah.
This wine was great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
You know?
I just feel like however it's going to taste, it's like, awesome. Thank you.
Exactly.
It's great. Yeah. You're probably at like a disposition where you can't, you know, you can't just be, people are going to remember the group of Kings guys to going to the restaurant. And it's like, yeah, dude, they made me send the wine back. Like, oh man, like brutal.
I know.
You don't want to like have that impression.
I had a guy, and it kind of bothered me. I had a guy, I saw it randomly in like a Twitter thread. There was our server somehow, we were in Minnesota at, I think we were at Four Seasons or Ritz, right across from the arena. And went in after the game. There wasn't many restaurants open. So me and Domas went and had dinner there very quickly as like the kitchen was closing. Sit down, put your food in, eat. And the server like tweeted at me 2 years later, like apparently I was really rude, like during that dinner, like interaction. Really? And I don't like, I remember going into it like not, I wasn't in like a, you know, pissed off mood. I didn't have a certain, you know, way about me, or I don't think I was mad at like any of the service, but it's like it kind of brought back to light, like people remember those interactions
for sure.
Know? And that thing, I feel like it kind of like bothered me when I saw it. It's like, I wasn't a jerk. Like right away I was like, I don't think I was like an asshole. Like, yeah, if I was, like, I'm sorry. Like I didn't interact with it.
Yeah.
But it is like people remember it. People remember all that stuff.
What would you say is like the biggest lesson about business or entrepreneurship you've learned so far in your early professional career?
Another good question. I guess a lot of what I've learned so far, like especially for other players that are out there, like you have to want and seek out these opportunities in a lot of ways. Like they're not going to come to you. Like you have to be, I forget the word, but you have to want to get in with these different companies. You have to want to invest your money. And there's a lot of guys that kind of go through their careers and never tap into this, this area, how to invest their money. They don't know who they're investing with. And then all of a sudden they might get to the end of their careers and all of a sudden like, oh my God, I don't have a paycheck coming anymore.
Yeah. And
so it is like what you make of it, like you got to take advantage of that. We talked about people want to work with us.
Yeah.
We get preferential, 100% we get preferential treatment, like, but you still have to seek that out. And so a lot of guys, I think your first 4 years, I was talking about like your rookie deal, it should be all basketball, like 100%. Worry about how am I going to stick around the NBA for the next 10 years. And then once you really kind of get to your second deals, like I feel like the smart guys, the ones that I've learned from or seen, like a lot of the smart ones start to do more, and they do more off the court. They start to bring different people into their life that help them out with all the stuff they're doing off the court. And they just kind of continue to grow their business, their Kevin Huerter business, their Darren Fox business, whoever it might be.
Yeah.
So for me, I learn, and I feel bad for the guys that don't tap into this and they don't feel a need or they don't know how. And guys got to be willing to explore the space.
Sounds like 2 words: curious, proactive.
Proactive. That's the word I was looking for. You got to be proactive in doing this type of thing.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, I appreciate it, man. This is great. Appreciate you joining the pod. It's another great episode of the Athletes and Assets podcast. I've been your host, Noah Lack. And look, we bring on your favorite athletes to chat about business and entrepreneurship and what they're working on. So, man, we appreciate it. And best of luck with the season. And best of luck off the court. And, maybe bumping it up from 37 to 39 touch points or 43, or maybe you go down. I don't know which one. You guys can decide that part. But, like, we appreciate it, man. This is
People
great.
got some ideas that we can add to the list. Let us know.
Bro, you're going to have so many touch points that nothing is investable. Like, you can't invest in anything.
Hopefully everything we invest in is gold then at that point.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate having me on.